Hi friends, my name is Shnon, and if it's your first time seeing me, welcome. Today I'm going to be making an I Don't Think So clip again on the YissakarScribe. I have decided I'm probably going to be making a series of clips over this next few weeks to months. I don't know how long it'll take me to get through it, on the Jubilee documentary that just came out of the interview between LGBTQ and former LGBTQ. As someone for myself, I describe myself as a queer man. I have talked about this openly. I do not claim to be straight, but I do claim to be ex-gay. And I don't just have religious reasons for doing that. I want to talk about the things that I had found that were just not very helpful when I watched it. Now, I also watched the progressive response up to 43 minutes. They have like an hour or so. I haven't gotten through the last part of it, but in the upcoming months, if you want to see a very well thought out response that breaks down the points that are contained from both sides, you're going to want to follow me to get a holistic approach. With that being said, I have a playlist on YouTube that you can go on YouTube at the YissakarScribe, and if you're watching this on YouTube, it's down in a playlist below. Let me find out which playlist that is on when I cover Other Side of the Rainbow. That's where it is. You can find these clips. They'll be posted probably in Other Side of the Rainbow and have their own response video to Jubilee Can You Be Born Gay clips. So this is clip one. My initial actual thoughts, I did record the other day in an initial video. The largest thought that I, after looking at the largest speaker and the responses, is to simply say that ex-gay people don't exist is not, you're not able to prove that. Now you can prove situationally that because people have attractions, that they have homosexual attractions. What this does, it also nullifies attractions to the opposite sex. The whole conversation is framed and was framed in predominantly a Christian framework. I don't find that this was very helpful because there are other religions that have ex-gay people that are not specifically Christian, and none of them were included. I also don't think that if you're really wanting a diverse poll, I do think that you really need to have transgender people there, bisexual. You really need to have asexual, bisexual, transgender, people that are religious, people that are atheists, people that are agnostic. And you really need to pull like 30 to 50 different types of people from each continent. I mean, it would be interesting to see, all of that kind of grouping from every single country around the world. It would be thousands of people weighing in. I do feel that TED Talks cover that pretty well. And so I will be doing a lot of research on TED Talks coming up in the future. The reason for TED Talks is that there are experts in the field, there are controversial voices, and so much more. And I'll be talking about in these upcoming film clips, you can find a lot of the work that I will be doing on YouTube, where I finally have a camera to record a lot of the footage that I'm going to be doing. But what are some takeaways that I have? The first takeaway is I don't think it's very helpful if you are coming from a religious background to label everything a demon. Now, I talk about charismatic chaos reels, and this video will be a charismatic chaos reel as well. And you can find the playlist of those videos and those TikToks on YouTube. The reason why I think this is so damaging, even if theologically that's true for some, I don't know that that's true for everybody. And the reason for that is the evidence that is insurmountable to anything involving miracles, wonders, signs, that it's been proven that not everybody who gets a healing has it later, or maybe they realize that they were not this or that. And it discredits the pain that so many people who are in the gay community have been through religious abuse and religious trauma. And like, if the Mike Bickle thing is true, then we have a really huge lack of accountability going on with IHOP. But that video that I'm making right now is not about IHOP, and it's not about those things. The second thing that I found, the comment that I said, ex-gays don't exist. With the TED Talk that I covered the other day, briefly, you can find that TED Talk, and I probably will be making an article on this. There are studies out there that have been done for, I believe, 20 years was the time frame or more, on hundreds of people, that prove that sexuality does change for a variety of reasons, and that there's a genetic component that pushes people in a direction but doesn't determine that. And if it was genetic, then all twins, if one was born gay, the other one would be if there was a genetic quality. But that's not examinable. So I think that that also does harm. I also think that if you are going to define your experience as being what determines everything, rather than things that are examinable or people's ability to change or make rational decisions, then really what you're doing is you have a hidden agenda. One of the things that I've noticed with Brandon Robinson that he did that I don't think is fair, and I think the gay community needs to really call out, and at least I am, is that he had an agenda, and the agenda was to prove that everyone's a liar, to prove that they are liars if they say ex-gay. So rather than coming to the talk, listening to the stories, and maybe learning something new, he came to the talk, and several of them came to argue, not to listen. Matter of fact, in their react, they talk about how they prepped. They were not willing to genuinely listen. And the last area, one of them had said, how am I supposed to fucking hug them? For people that claim to love God, they have a very strange way of showing hate. And that needs to be called out from the gay community. It is not okay at all to do that. It's not, if you were trying to convince people to believe what you were saying, and then you react, what they said is that they had made the video, the response that they did right after they ate with them. And a woman who says that she's a Christian says, how am I supposed to fucking hug them? I think that you don't understand your own religious structure. If you are a Christian, if you are in a religious system, you are setting a bad example. And what I also found is when someone started to bring up a biological component to the intersex person, they could not talk about how that was not a biological standard for the human race, that they were a mutation and a deformity, just from a biological standpoint. I'm not picking on that person. I'm just talking about what intersex is. It's an abnormal aspect of the DNA structure breaking down. You can get growths, cancer, or other things when DNA structures change. These conversations really did not happen. You also didn't have people that are ex-gay that are like decades ex-gay. You predominantly had very young ex-gay people that were new to the Christian faith that have not been like an activist like myself. And so when you have these very strong activists going against people who are just now starting to learn, maybe they're learning studies, or maybe they have a little experience, I don't think that the experience level was on equal fields. And I think that that was a disservice. Rather than having other people that are content creators like myself come on there and talk about our experiences, they put people that are very young in this type of conversation up with people that are very intending, in my opinion, especially with Brandon. I think he purposely went out of the way to prepare himself to prey on people because he's intentionally trying to have an agenda to make every single person who is part of the ex-gay community a liar. And that's just not fair. Those are my initial thoughts. I will be actually making videos on this on YouTube where I break down several points and give several points from a religious and a common sense ground. Follow me for more. Follow me on patreon.com/YissakarScribe, and together we can make the world a peaceful